If you visit my channel often, then you will know how much I play Dead by Daylight. I love playing it with my friends. Shout out to Infectious Gaming for introducing me to the game, and of course to Donna Anastasia and Very Marsh for those amazing gaming moments.
Hello. Suneil! Get her! Get her! Get her!
Thank you!
Considering how much time I spent playing Dead by Daylight, one had to wonder how come I never made an honest opinion video on the game. It was because I sucked at it. Don't get me wrong, there is still some more room for improvement, but then again, there always is. I wanted to make a video on it a long time ago, but it was Egg who told me to rank up a bit first. I cannot hold an opinion on a game if I don't spend any time with it. Egg at one point was a survivor rank 5, so I put the video on the back burner and decided to spend more time with the game. Honestly, I kind of understand what Egg meant back then when he told me to rank up first and then make a video on it, because ranking up not only meant I had to play the game more, but it meant I had to be good at it. The highest rank I reached is 14, and I'm not saying I cannot improve on that. I can. I just don't want to, considering the amount of games I want to move on to. For crying out loud, Final Fantasy VII Remake was made available for PS Plus subscribers, and I may have discovered a new waifu. Sorry, Tifa. With that out of the way, let's jump in the video. Developed by Behaviour Interactive, Dead by Daylight is an asymmetrical game that pits 4 survivors against one overpowered killer. On the surface, this may seem simple, but trust me, there is a lot going on here. You can choose to play as a survivor or a killer. As a survivor, your task is to find generators in the map and repair them. Once you have repaired enough generators, the exit gates will be powered, which you can open to escape the trial. As a killer, your task is to hunt down the survivors and stop them from escaping. Like I said, on the surface it may seem pretty straightforward, but the gameplay is very deep and will require you to invest time in it to truly appreciate the various mechanics at work here. The survivors in this game cannot fight. You cannot grab weapons and melee the living daylights out of the killer. Instead, your options are to run, hide, or die. You can either find other players to work with, or you can go your own way and work solo. You can work on a generator to power the exit gates or engage in chases with the killer. As a killer, your task is to stop the survivors from escaping and doing whatever you can to stop their progress. You can damage generators that are being repaired, use any power or ability you have at your disposal, and just be an unstoppable force, really. The developers did a really good job with balancing the gameplay between the killers and the survivors. You play as survivors in third-person view, which really increases your field of vision, whereas if you play as the killer, you play in first person. This restricts your field of view. However, you have certain powers and abilities at your disposal that can tip the odds in your favor. For example, if you play as Wraith, you can turn invisible. The Trapper can set up bear traps. The Nurse can teleport to a short distance. All killers have a unique ability that separates them from each other. As a survivor, you have certain abilities too. You can rush over obstacles, drop pallets over the killer to stun them momentarily, blind them with flashlights, or just hide in the locker. While I'm here, I feel like I need to talk about camping and how Behaviour Studio tackled it in Dead by Daylight. As a killer, if you face camp a survivor on the hook, you're giving other survivors the chance to work on generators. As a survivor, if you choose to camp, a raven will begin to circle over you, revealing your location to the killer. The longer you camp, the more ravens will appear. So if you think you can hide in a locker throughout the trial while others do the heavy lifting, you are wrong. Now, I can't talk about the gameplay mechanics at length here, like skill checks, scratch marks for the killers to see, and many other little details that make Dead by Daylight a more polished and balanced experience when compared to other asymmetrical games. But this is my third attempt at writing the script for this video, and honestly, it was becoming a bit of an information overload. If you want to see the game in action and how it plays, I recommend you check out some of my gameplay videos in Gaming with Friends playlist featuring Ekvexus Gaming, Donna Anastasia, Very March and myself. We'll appreciate you checking them out. I think it's time I talk about the perks here. Whether you choose to play as a killer or a survivor, you will have perks at your disposal to help you complete your objective. You can equip up to 4 perks, and really this is where Dead by Daylight truly shines. These perks can really enhance your experience. Each character has 3 perks, and if you level up high enough, you can unlock those perks to be used by other characters. For example, Bill Overbeck, who gamers will recognize from Valve's famous zombie shooter Left 4 Dead, has a perk that I really like called Left Behind, which reveals the aura of the hatch if I am the last survivor alive in the trial. So once I have unlocked that perk to be used by other characters, I can build my own set that fits my playstyle. Same for killers. One of my favorite perks for killers is a nurse's call, which is exclusive to the killer known simply as the nurse. The perk shows the auras of survivors being healed within a certain range. Once unlocked to be used by other killers, I can have a custom build of a killer that can unleash all sort of terror on survivors. At the end of every match, you will receive blood points depending on how you play the game. Whether you play as a killer or a survivor, you will get blood points based on 4 categories and how high you rank in them. Playing as a killer, you will be rated for your brutality, which involves interrupting survivor actions like damaging generators or catching them while they are trying to open a chest; deviousness, which rates you for performing actions that are more specific to the killer you're playing; hunter, which is about chasing your prey; and sacrifice, which rates your performance on hooking the survivors. As a survivor, you will be rated in these categories. First up, objectives, which tracks how well you did on generator repairs and unlocking the main doors at the end. Survival, which is more about how long you stayed in the match. Altruism, which is about co-op actions like repairing a generator with another player, saving a hooked survivor, so on and so forth. And the final category is boldness, which is more about you confronting the killer and engaging in chases. If you want to learn more about the scoring system, because I just kinda glossed over it, I'll leave a link to the official wiki of the game that breaks down the entire scoring system for both the killers and the survivors. Blood points you earn can be used to purchase items, perks, offerings, and add-ons from Bloodweb. These items and perks are randomly generated on the web, and each time all items are purchased, you move on to the next level, which also levels up your character. You can go up to level 50. From there, you have a choice of resetting your character or keep it at 50. Resetting your character results in you losing all perks and collected items for that character, but if you start again, better items are generated on the web. You will also unlock a new clothing item in the game, which is usually a bloody version of the existing clothing you got. Oh yeah, Giorgio Armani has got nothing on my crimson jacket.
New outfit. You get a new outfit at level 50, don't you?
I think it's just covered in blood.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, you can prestige.
Got like 750,000 blood, and I'm on level 45.
Yeah, you don't get a new costume, but you can prestige at 50 to unlock like a bulky shirt.
Oh.
Then you lose everything then.
I thought I'd get like a nice dress or something.
No, you'd have to buy it.
Why do you want to see Cheryl in a dress?
Because he wants to make his character look nice.
Oh, is she your waifu, Martin?
You can earn additional blood points by completing extra challenges that you can select from the tombs. These challenges can be something like healing 8 survivors using a special perk, or disabling a hook, so on and so forth. Nothing too challenging, but some can be very difficult. These are optional but worth it. Items purchased in the web can be brought in the match. Medkits for healing oneself, flashlights that can be used to blind the killer, add-ons can be used to improve the efficiency of the item, and offerings that can alter the match a bit. Some offerings will send you to a specific map, some will add bonuses to the scoring system, but killers will have an offering called Mories, which allows them to kill survivors instead of hooking them. As far as I can remember, the survivors need to be hooked at least once to be killed off, but I gotta say, the animation of killers just murdering their victims mercilessly is fun to watch. Now that I got the mechanics out of the way, I need to talk about how the game actually plays. It plays like a ball ache. I'm sorry, this is not a game you can just pick up and play. You need to stick to it, dare I say, devote yourself to it. You need to understand how the game works and then craft your own unique playstyle. It requires time, and if you're not careful, it will be very punishing and unforgiving. Graphically, the game is not a looker. However, I did notice that the developers are trying to upscale the graphics with regular updates. They have updated animations, particle effects, meshes, in-game models. I have been playing the game on base PS4 and I have not seen any frame rate issues either. The character models look serviceable and look distinctive enough. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said about the environments. You can notice reused assets crop up all the time. What I mean by that is, no matter what level you play, you will see the same kind of palettes, same kind of generators, and the same kind of lockers. And yeah, from the user experience side of things, it helps because the moment you see one of these things, you know what they do and how they work, and it ties in well with the lore as well, which I will not get into. But imagine you're playing a game on Silent Hill map and you see the same locker as you saw on the Springwood map and the Institute and the Yamaoka estate. It just becomes a bit repetitive. Although I must add here, the map themselves, especially the ones that tie in with other licensed IPs, are very well designed. You can tell the developers really loved those IPs because they added these little Easter eggs for you to come across and pick up on. For example, in Silent Hill map, there is a piano that is the same as the piano from the original Silent Hill game. On the Springwood map from A Nightmare on Elm Street, you can find the basement where Freddy used to hang out. The maps are truly well designed and I have to give them props for that. Actually, I'll talk a little bit about the lore and how it ties with the game. If you have seen any of my previous honest opinion videos, you will know that I love a game with a decent story. If you play Dead by Daylight, you will have zero idea what the heck is actually going on. What is this entity and why does it keep putting you through these trials over and over again? Honestly, I learned a lot about the lore by watching YouTube videos. Shout out to Spoiled Fruit for making those lore dive videos that explains a lot. The game does have an interesting lore and it is incorporated well in gameplay. Once you learn about the lore, you will understand certain design choices with gameplay and level design. Moving over to sound, and I must say, this is one of those games that I would recommend that you play with a decent pair of headphones. The sound of generators being repaired in the distance, wind blowing, hinting at the killer teleporting close to you, the sound of your victims crying in pain. This game is brilliant in sound department and it needs to be played with headphones on. The controls are responsive. Whether you're playing as a killer in first person mode or a survivor in third, the controls work and I've never really had any issue with them. A bit of advice here for anyone thinking about jumping in Dead by Daylight. Yes, I understand it's important to learn about the game and how it plays and all, but I would recommend you learn about the perks as well. If you do that, it will save you the time of investing in a character that may not fit your playstyle. Also, it will give you the advantage over your opponent as well. For example, let's go for the nurse again. If you see the nurse on the map and if you're aware of her exclusive perks and how they work, you will heal your fellow teammates as far away from her as possible so you won't get spotted. I do want to add here is that Behaviour Studio is really committed to the game and their effort shows. When I first started playing the game, yeah, it was fun to play, but it had issues. The graphics were ugly, the animations were choppy, some serious hit detection issues, matchmaking took ages. The game had a lot of problems. I mean, I remember at one point, me and my friends were waiting up to 20 minutes to get in a game. But Behaviour Studios really did a good job at improving the game. New animations have been added, graphics have received an upgrade, matchmaking has improved, cross-platform play has been added, and user interface have been revamped to make it more accessible. However, the game has some bugs and glitches, but they are not Cyberpunk 2077 level. You can still play it and have a great time. Honestly, I love Dead by Daylight. The characters, both the survivors and the killers, have interesting backstories and tie in well with their perks. Yeah, you get your good and bad days. Sometimes I get matched with good teammates, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I get survivors who are really smart, sometimes I get absolute trolls. It really depends on who you're matched up with and what perks you are taking in with you. If I have to pick something I don't like about the game, then it has to be its monetization. Listen, I get it. The developers need to make their money somehow to keep the lights on at the office. But nevertheless, an issue is an issue. Dead by Daylight has a menu called the Rift. You get Rift fragments that help you progress further in the Rift timeline. Yes, you get free stuff the more you progress, but you get better items if you purchase the premium pass. You can purchase that with Oryx cells. It's kinda similar to Fortnite's Battle Pass, which you can purchase using V-Bucks, but unlike V-Bucks which you can earn by completing different challenges, I have not seen any way to earn these Oryx cells. The only way to get them is to pay real life money for them. It's kinda weird really because Fortnite is free to play but Dead by Daylight isn't. At the minimum, if you live in the UK, you are paying £15 for it. And that doesn't even include additional characters for the game. Yes, those characters are good value for money and they are optional, but they still come with a price tag, and if you choose to purchase all of them, it will cost you over £90, not including the soundtrack or other cosmetic stuff for characters. Just let that soak in. Another point of contention, and yeah, I'm being nitpicky here, but I'm not really a huge fan of how the game will drop you a few ranks on the 13th of every month. I know a lot of us have been in lockdown for a good part of 2020, but as life goes back to normal, some of us will work 37 hours or more on a weekly basis. For some it will be easy to rank up, but for others, maybe a scrub like myself, we will be working hard to level up only to see a drop down every month. Maybe if they reset your ranking after every 2 or 4 months, that would not be an issue. And please don't hate me, this is my personal opinion. You may not have a problem with it, but I'm not a big fan of watching my rank drop every month. So what is my honest opinion of Dead by Daylight? Do I recommend it? Yes. This game is a must for horror fans. Be warned though, this game is not easy. The experience can be frustrating and all those perks can be overwhelming, but if you decide to stay for the long run and actually spend time with it, improving yourself and creating a build with perks that fit your playstyle, then trust me, it's worth it. If you are the kind of gamer who gets frustrated easily because they are not winning the game, or if you just want to enjoy gaming in short bursts, then I will not recommend this game. Dead by Daylight is available to buy on just about every platform you can think of, and the prices vary on each platforms. For example, on PlayStation Store, the game is about £25, but it comes with additional chapters as opposed to the Steam version, which is about £15, but it only includes the base game. And I think with Stadia, if you sign up for Stadia Pro, you get access to the game as long as you're a Stadia Pro subscriber. Whichever version you go for, I recommend you check what you are actually getting with that version. For example, there was a Silent Hill Special Edition version of Dead by Daylight. in which you get the base game and the Silent Hill chapter with it. Also, the game goes on sale regularly, so you may want to keep an eye out for that too. There is a mobile version of the game which is free to play. If you have not played this sort of game before and want to know what you're getting yourself into, I recommend you play the mobile version first. It's free to play and you will get an idea what to expect when you jump on the console or the PC versions, which I would highly recommend. The mobile version is solid, but the game is leaps and bounds ahead on PC and consoles. Alright, that's enough from me. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know by hitting the like button, and if you want to see more, consider subscribing. Your interaction with the channel will help me a lot in the long run. Also, if you want to see some of my Dead by Daylight gameplay videos, click the link at the end of the video. Peace out, angels, and stay awesome.